front line in a big way. And so here now to talk to us about defence is Bill Etheridge.
Good afternoon, everyone. Right, a couple of elements of housekeeping first of all. I'm going to hand over, after a few minutes of my speech, to our veteran spokesman and a good friend of mine, Mike Hookem, who's got some details for you about that side of things, that crucial side of things. First of all, as well, I want to say that whilst I'm here to talk about defence, out of respect and deference for our new leader and the team that he may well bring into place, I'm not going to go into too much on the way of new policy ideas, because until I've met with Henry and discussed it, I think it's only right and respectful for me to at least just lay out a few things, but then follow the guidance of our new leader. It's been a great honour for me to serve as our defence spokesman. It truly has. If you think about it, a patriotic party like ours should be at the very forefront of promoting the issues to do with defence. We are the only party in this country, I believe, that still values defence. We're the only people who actually understand that as an independent sovereign nation in today's dangerous world, kind words and platitude and handing out money isn't enough. It's not enough. Diplomacy needs to have a firm hand with it. And this nation, for too long, has seen successive governments run down our armed forces, cut back everywhere, betray our service people, allow them to be sued for doing their jobs. Wherever we go from here and whatever the policies are, I know and I'm confident that this party will always be the party that the servicemen and women of this country can look to and say this party will stand by them to the hilt. Ladies and gentlemen, the first duty of government is to defend its people. That duty has been neglected by successive governments year on year on year. They look for cheap savings here, cheap savings there. They don't understand the value of keeping our country, our values and our people safe. We will remind them. Now we have a new leader and a new start for our party. I'd like to congratulate Henry Bolton on his success. I think it's an absolutely marvellous achievement that he's made. And I'd like to, from this platform, say, good on you, mate. Let's hope you do a great job, and I'll be backing you all the way. In true Black Country fashion, that's the way. He's going to have to get used to interpreting Black Country if he talks to me. I also want to say a couple of other thank yous. I want to thank Paul Nuttall for the hell that he went through. The hell. Personal hell that man went through. He's a friend of mine, and I tell you this for nothing. That guy suffered for the cause. And I think all of us, no matter how we feel about how things have gone in recent months, should acknowledge the personal battles and heartache that he went through during that time when he was mercilessly attacked by the media. I also want to make special thanks to the person without whom I wouldn't be lucky enough to be on this stage, still active, still a warrior for freedom, still battling away, and believe you me, if you spent time out in Brussels and Strasbourg like I do, you'd know. Thank God for Nigel Farage and what he did for this party. It's been the greatest honour of my life to serve this party and its membership. We've gone through some amazing times together, some wonderful victories, some tough times, but we've gone through it all together. And I truly, truly mean it. in this opportunity, speaking to so many of you from this platform, to say thank you for allowing me to do this with you. Thank you for allowing me to fight these battles with you. And we will continue together, I know, with renewed vigour, because we must not stop. We must not stop. To coin a phrase, we've only just begun. But like our great party and our movement, there have been times in this last few months where we haven't been all we could. And I would like to take this opportunity from the platform to say there have been times in this last few months when I haven't been all I should. I haven't represented you as well as I should. I want to take this opportunity to say to each and every one of you, I shoulder responsibility for my part in the weaknesses of the last few months, for my part in not being all I should have been for you and for our country. I shoulder that responsibility, and I apologise. I apologise to each and every one of you for the fact that this party has stalled the way it has. I have to share my part of that burden, and I think it's only the right thing to do to stand here in front of so many of you who fought battles that don't get the publicity that the rest of us get. For me to say to you here and now, I'm sorry, it's not been good enough. It's not been good enough. I allowed myself moments of weakness this party can ill afford from its representatives. This party has allowed itself moments of weakness this country can ill afford from a party that is here to represent the people who've not been spoken for so long. And I'm here to tell you something now. With all sincerity and every ounce of feeling that I can muster, the time of weakness for myself, for our party, for our movement is over. I'm back in there slugging, and I know we all will be as well. Think of the glorious fights that we've had already together. The 2014 European elections. It all seems like a blur now. Public meetings, tour buses, beer. It all seems a blur. But think of it, despite the media attacks, despite the unfair treatment that we got, we won the most fantastic victory that any political movement in this country has ever won. The 2015 general election, where we tested the establishment to its limits. By God, they threw everything at us, didn't they? They were terrified for that period of time, seeing those frightened faces on the television, when they knew the people were coming after them. Oh, it was worth its weight in gold. And we pushed them, and we pushed them, and we pushed them to the limit, and they stretched, and they just about managed to hang on in there, but we frightened the life out of them. And what did it lead to? What did it lead to? The referendum. And those times in the referendum, so many of us were out there together, out there, street stalls, more tour buses, more beer, more battling together, the people's army coming together like never before. And I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what Boris Johnson says or any of these other people. It was the people's army what won it. Now the battle is on to achieve true Brexit. We have a new battle. We have a new cause. We must ensure that no faint hearts, no unrepentant Remainers, no slippery politicians, or Michael Crick, God bless him, get in the way of what we are here to do. We are here to represent, fight for and battle for the will of the British people. They will not be denied. I vow here and now my support for this historic battle, and I know that you all will say the same. We vow to fight on, because winning a referendum is only one part of this. Making sure that those lily-livered politicians at the top, those so-called government people, the establishment, whomsoever they may be, never manage to stifle the will of the people. The people have spoken, and we are their voice now, and we continue the battle. This party in this country has a destiny. We have a destiny to restore greatness to our nation. We have a destiny to restore democracy and freedom to people who for too long have been told they have to be a client of the state, that the EU tells them what to do, that you can't have your own individual freedom, you can't say what you think. No more. We fight on for them, and we fight with renewed vigour. The glory of this battle is yet to come, and we will win. We will win. Our party is reborn. This conference is the rebirth of UKIP. I was given a badge on the way in. New logo, new everything, new start, new leader, fresh slate. No more letting anyone down. No more being too much looking at ourselves. There's a bigger battle ahead, folks. A bigger battle. It's our duty never to be distracted again from representing the people by looking inwards. We must look outwards. We must look at those people, those millions of people who rely on us. We've got to stand for them, and by God we will. We are freedom's warriors. We are the people's army. I offer my renewed services, vigour, determination to this cause. I ask all of you to feel the same. Let's leave here so pumped up, because over the next 2 years, the battle is going to be huge. Already the forces are lined up against us. Oh, you didn't know what you were voting for. The last thing you wanted was freedom. No, you wanted to stay in the internal market and all that, because obviously you want someone else to make you rules, and free movement of people was nothing to do with it, was it? We fight on. We must be strong. Together we can achieve glory for our cause, our people, our nation. The future is ours. Let's be strong. Let's be determined. Let's seize the moment and make our nation great, powerful and strong once again.
Okay, I'll keep this flowing. I'm not going to say anything. Will you please give a warm welcome back to Mike Hookem, MEP.
So I'm back again. As you all know, I'm a former soldier, former airman, and I really do have a deep affinity with the honour of service and duty in the United Kingdom Armed Forces. So it hurts me deeply to see the UK government betraying us, the taxpaying public and the brave men and women in uniform who sacrifice so much for so little reward to defend this country. While we expect Labour governments to squeeze defence spending, it has been the Conservatives under David Cameron and now Theresa May who have made the deepest cuts to our military capabilities since the 1930s. Therefore, you would be justified in thinking that in these times of heightened threats and reduced budgets, the government would think carefully about how they do spend the little money that is available. If that's the case, you would be wrong. So I'd like you to watch this short video that highlights just one of the current issues with military spending. And for the second time this week, I can say, roll video. So now, having seen this film, consider that between January and July this year, Typhoon aircraft flew 254 missions in Syria alone. When missions flown by Tornado aircraft and Reaper drones are considered, together with the long-running airstrikes in Iraq, the UK taxpayer, you and me, are looking at a bill of billions of pounds. Bearing in mind that many of the targets in Syria have been little more than pickup trucks, can any rational person put their hand on the heart and say this is either a cost-effective use of taxpayers' money or an efficient demonstration of military power projection? I, for one, will not even attempt to justify this type of spending. However, at the same time as the government lavishes money on airstrikes in Syria and Iraq, other areas of military go begging. The fact is, the Royal Navy is now so short of ships, personnel, weapons and fuel, we as a country will be hard pushed to protect our much vaunted new aircraft carriers. Never mind our borders, our fishing grounds, our international interests. And while Michael Fallon boasts that the new carriers will be projecting British power, the reality is rather different. Firstly, the failure of the MOD procurement experts to include cat and trap launch and recovery systems on the £6.2 billion carriers means the UK is now tied to the VSTOL-capable F-35B Joint Strike Fighter, without which the new ships are rendered useless. The F-35 programme itself is billions over budget, riddled with engineering and software errors and bombarded with poor performance reviews. Surely it would have been sensible to have carriers that could launch conventional carrier aircraft such as the F-18 Super Hornet, as well as being compatible with the aircraft of our closest NATO allies. But maybe that would have sounded too much like common sense to military procurement planners. The sad reality is, while procurement waste and political vanity wars continue to flourish, the MOD are at the same time swinging the axe over military personnel. All branches of our armed forces are now woefully undermined and due to the failure to attract any and retain recruits. Yet defence chiefs have now decided to downsize the Royal Marines in an attempt to plug a £10 billion funding deficit. You couldn't make it up, especially when the troops are overstretched on military and humanitarian relief operations. Simple fact is, it is unacceptable for the fifth largest economy in the world to have a military that is woefully short of missiles and torpedoes. A military that is facing such a crisis in funding that one officer said, and I quote, "There is a significant challenge, and how that challenge is managed will affect everything we do." That is why today I'm calling on the government and any right-minded thinking members of Parliament to conduct an immediate, in-depth public review of our armed forces. It is now vital to our national interest and security to eliminate the unremitting level of waste that the Ministry of Defence and our government continues to preside over and ignore. If necessary, this review should look to an appropriate reallocation of defence spending priorities to ensure the safety of our island nation and particularly the security of our energy supplies, trade routes and overseas possessions are secured. Thank you very much.